Welcome to the History of Rhino Entertainment Company. I'm Riley Sparks.
And I'm Jet.
We will talk all about it all week long on this, including Friday. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? Company Perspectives. At Rhino, our mission is to put out great stuff, have some fun, make some money, learn from each other, and make a difference wherever we can.
Key dates. 1973, Richard Foos opens a Rhino record store near the University of California, Los Angeles campus. 1977, a record label is formed. 1985, Rhino Home Video is formed. 1987, Rhino has its first gold single and album. 1991, Kid Rhino label is launched. 1992, Rhino wins a Grammy in the category of liner notes. 1993, Putumayo World Music Series is started. 1998, Warner Music Group acquires Rhino. 2001, Rhino becomes part of WMG's Warner Strategic Marketing Division.
Company History. Rhino Entertainment Company produces novelty records, archival reissues, definitive musical anthologies, and various artist series. Rhino considers itself to be a pop culture archive company, proclaiming that Rhino Records is the label that collects records so that you don't have to. Others have called Rhino the top catalog development company in the business.
Rhino is known for its distinctive packaging, which has garnered a number of industry awards. The company's themed box sets have been known to include extensive liner notes, elaborate graphics, 3D elements, and novelties such as jigsaw puzzles and fuzzy dice. Rhino does design work on Warner projects as well as for third-party record companies.
Record store origins. The story of Rhino Entertainment is largely the story of its president, Richard Foos, and managing director, Harold Bronson. Avid music listeners and collectors, Foos was a sociology student at the University of Southern California in the late 1960s, when Bronson worked at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, as a student representative for Columbia Records. Attending a local swap meet, Foos was inspired when he met a dealer who had purchased hundreds of records at a used record store for $3.
The vendor was selling each LP for $1, turning a healthy profit. Foos went to the same record store, Aaron's, and bought his own $3 pile of records. His entrepreneurial venture began out of the trunk of his car, driving to flea markets to try to sell the old jazz and blues recordings.
Rhino Records was born in October 1973 when Richard Foos opened a store on Westwood Boulevard, a few blocks south of UCLA. Harold Bronson began working at the store as an employee.
A lack of traffic in the early days gave Foos and Bronson time to brainstorm about promotions. Bronson began to implement customer attraction events exhibiting the slightly offbeat Rhino flair, such as Polka Day, Redneck Day, and Hassle the Salesman Day. 2 years later, as a 1975 promotion, the first actual Rhino record, a vinyl 45 RPM release entitled Go to Rhino Records, sung by the eccentric Wild Man Fisher, a street singer discovered by Frank Zappa some years earlier, was issued and given away for free in the store.
When local radio stations began to play the record, Rhino earned an underground following and business picked up.
By 1978, the Rhino label was officially launched by Fisher with a full-length album, Wild Mania, recorded partially at Dodger Stadium and produced by Harold Bronson for $500. In November 1978, Rhino carved a niche for itself with its first reissue, a picture disc by the 1960s pop band The Turtles. This disc was the first step in plans to reissue the entire Turtles catalog. The philosophy behind re-releases of novelty tunes and past hits was to create records which did not yet exist that partners Foos and Bronson would want to buy.
Reissues were to be a gold mine for Rhino, and the company was off to a good start. The label grossed nearly $60,000 in its first year. Although financial success was upon them, Foos and Bronson maintained a low-budget environment, taking small salaries, using the copy machine at a local stationery store rather than buying one, and even instituting an employee schedule for cleaning the bathrooms.
Growth continued, and in 1983, Rhino was a $2 million company. Employees have always been an integral part of Rhino's philosophy and operations, presenting Rhino's unique take on popular culture and music to the customer. Foose and Bronson were careful to hire people who shared their passion for popular culture and met with them every 6 months in order to run the company democratically. Employees were encouraged to develop product ideas based on their own musical tastes, and the Big Ideas program offered a bonus to employees who presented innovative ideas.
Over the years, employee-centered rituals such as open forum meetings were instituted. A portion of every employee's salary was tied to company performance, and credits on Rhino products listed employees who worked directly on that release. Thus, invested in a number of ways in the company's future, employees played a uniquely involved role in the success story of Rhino.
Another unique aspect of Rhino's corporate identity was its emphasis on social responsibility. Back covers of releases were often devoted to information on issues ranging from AIDS to homelessness to animal overpopulation.
Further, Rhino's merchandising of reissues was placed in the context of social consciousness, using commercial release of cultural icons as a tool for understanding the not-so-distant past. Proceeds from album sales were often donated to relevant charities, and Rhino has been involved over the years with national causes such as the Rock the Vote campaign and the Ban the Box campaign for CDs, as well as the local community, specifically the Wooten Center, a Los Angeles inner-city recreation and education center.
Rhino stepped out on another limb in April 1984, releasing Three Faces of Al, a CD by the legendary comedy quartet The Firesign Theater. The company also released greatest hits collections from the Turtles and Jerry Lee Lewis. The next year marked the debut of Rhino Home Video with the release of My Breakfast with Blassie, a satire of the Louis Malle film My Dinner with Andre, featuring comedian Andy Kaufman and wrestler Freddie Blassie. By the fall of 1985, Rhino was ready to end its independent distribution, signing with Capitol Records for distribution through SEMA.
We'll see you tomorrow. We'll continue this tomorrow.
Goodbye.